What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is the 29th of September. We're going to look here this morning at Aerodrome Finance / the United States dollar. We will be looking at a daily chart. We will probably drop into a smaller time frame, which will be the 3-minute. And this price data is from Coinbase. We'll drop into Bitcoin as well. Welcome, guys. Well, we've had a ridiculous rally here off of a break of a overhead resistance line. So real quick, this reminds me, if you guys follow Tori Trades, I believe is her name there on YouTube. But I don't know much about her. I believe she's a futures trader, but I've watched a little bit, over time here, and I believe she is a trader solely based off trend line trading. So, essentially breaks above, breaks below, support, etc. But you could see here, I really don't know anything about her besides from what I've seen in the video. But I believe she trades, based on trend lines, and this would be a perfect example of a bullish breakout above a trend line here, and you could see what's possible. I don't trade like this, but I saw the opportunity here and I said, well, we better cover it here. It's something of importance. Just like with XRP, in this giant pennant pattern, when it breaks down below it and tries to break out above it, etc. It's worth noting. But I have some other things I use to get in and out of trades, but this surely should not be ignored, as you can see how well it has potential to work. So let's take a step back real quick here. We've had price here respecting this overhead resistance line here. Again, this is a daily chart of Aerodrome Finance. Respecting it, going all the way back in here. It's basically where it started. It looks like that top price came in on the 12th of April in 2024. So, not that long ago. And we've been respecting it ever since. All kinds of attempts to get above, close above, and got pushed back down. A big sell-off here. Another area here of a test. And then we put in this higher low here, which was the 6th of September. Higher low, rallied. This day, I remember this day, it wasn't that long ago. We were breaking out above it. We got pushed back down from the 66.9 overhead resistance level, and then we actually closed below our overhead trend line, our resistance line. But we got some follow through on the 13th of September, Friday the 13th, big old breakout, up 15.54%. One of the things is, if you believe in a market, right, for whatever reason you think it's going to do well, and you buy it or you go short. For example, this day right here, if you were buying this breakout here on the 12th, and it, essentially it failed. It failed as in we were breaking above the trend line intraday, and by the end of the day, we ended up closing down, closing below it slightly below it, basically at it. Here it is right here as well. This day here, this day you actually closed down on the day, where we closed up on the day. This day could have easily failed. This breakout, I should say. So the 13th, which, was a positive breakout, could have easily been a day like this over here on the 19th, followed by a couple more days, and then you get a big down day like we saw on the 22nd of July, down 12%. But you have to take the trades. So if you're going to be buying breakouts above trend lines, when it starts to break out, intraday or not, you got to take the trade, and you got to be ready to either, one, get stopped out or close your position if it fails, because you could see if you're buying up here at, call it $1, and it basically doesn't really go anywhere, and then down here you're closing at 84, and then just a couple days later, you're down here in the 60s or so. So, eventually, it may work out, but if that's your strategy, you got to take all the trades. You got to be willing to cut your losses And if it turns around and goes up the next day, you got to be able to buy that breakout, and so on. So it's tough to do. You could take a trade. I bought what was it recently? It was either Apple or Tesla, and gold actually was another scenario, but that was spread out over a longer period of time. There was a 2-day period where I was like long Tesla or Apple. It was one of those, and then like got like stopped out. But then like the next day, I bought right back in, and the thing took off and started to rally. Not everybody. It's not easy to do that. Because you bought it. This example was like one day before, and it failed. Are you willing to step back in? Why wouldn't it fail again? It doesn't matter. You got to take the trade, and the one you don't take will end up being the one that you should have taken. But so you got to take them all. Anyways, before I get too carried away here. So big old breakout here from basically the buy zone. If you're using this trend line, it's right around this like 61 cents. So this day, if you bought on the 12th, you bought at 61, call it. We closed at 61, so you're unchanged. On the day, hit a high of 67. The next day, we opened at, let's see here, we opened at 61, excuse me, hit a high of 72, and we closed at 70. Get a 1-2 day pullback here. You did put in a daily lower low here on the 15th, but we closed higher. And then, boom, basically straight up. We've only seen basically one red day besides this pullback here in this whole rally. So far, we have Aerodrome. Aerodrome is basically from the breakout to the top tick. You're up. Let's see here. Screen around here. I believe I have a 32-inch monitor, and it's just never big enough. Let's see here. So from basically 61 to the top tick, which is it's like 129, the should be like 112 or so percent, and that was in like 14 days. Very, very nice run, and this shows that buying breakouts above trend lines, that have proven themselves over time, can be a very lucrative strategy. Knowing that you can have many failed attempts, you have all these failed attempts where we started to break above it. So you have to be willing, and this is what I say is, getting in, and if it doesn't work out, quickly cutting your losses and then just getting back in again, because something like this will happen. So if that's your strategy, that's the way I would be trading it. So 112% in about 2 weeks. Notice we talked about this yesterday. We have we hit our two targets perfectly. 128, 129.45. That was resistance in the past. It actually marked a top back here, the 128 level on the 27th of May. We have a daily lower high as of Friday, as of Saturday. And so far today, we have a daily lower high as well. Both of these days are inside days. So Saturday was an inside day. Basically, we did not make a new high or a new low from the previous day, which was Friday. Same thing so far today. We have an inside day. We did not take out yesterday's high or low. So essentially here, we're forming a little bit of a pennant pattern. Let me find the right tool. Basically forming a little bit of a pennant pattern. We don't know how long this will, drag out. It's a little bit early to be putting any patterns together. But basically, when you have lower highs and higher lows consecutively day after day, it'll end up forming this triangle, this slice of cheese looking thing, and it'll be a pennant pattern. If you look at XRP is in one huge multi-year pennant pattern, and it's approaching the apex. The apex would be basically the point of, where you're either breaking out higher or breaking out lower. So, we'll see what happens here. But so far for Aerodrome, after a very large run to the upside, the consolidations are pretty controlled right now. It's only been 2 days, of course. So I don't see any major distribution taking place. No reason to think it's not just a pause before a larger run to the upside. We'll drop into Bitcoin in just a moment and see how that's doing. That will affect what Aerodrome Finance does. So that is that, guys. To the downside, if we fall off a cliff tonight, which will be Sunday night, we have, so for starters, 106.42, $1.0642, 104.829, and then 98.224. That'll take us below a dollar, 98.224. I think that'll probably cover us here, at least tonight. Of course, we could go lower, but I don't see any reason why. 92.337, just in case we really get hit hard tonight. That's the levels of support, obviously starting at the highest, which would be 106, 7, 9, 15, and 20. So that'll cover you up to 20% to the downside. We shall see. To the upside, if we break out on this Sunday evening when the futures open at 6 p.m. Eastern time, maybe that'll have a play. We're actually long the Bitcoin micro futures. So, maybe that's an early indication that Bitcoin's just getting started in a higher run here, which would obviously help the rest of the markets. If we start to run here to the upside, obviously we got to get above 128, 129. That's where our resistance is on the 27th. And then we can start to talk about 132, 136, 140, all the way up to 150. So, and that will cover us, cover Aerodrome. When I say us, I basically mean Aerodrome and its investors. 14 up to 132, 17, 21, and then 29. So that is that. Let's keep in mind, let's not forget, we had this level marked a major top in the past. I don't know if that's going to happen again, but just be aware of it back in here. Different times, different chart, etc. Breaking these levels over here, basically this $1.98 level. Let's see here. Basically this dollar level. Breaking this level was a big milestone for Aerodrome. It's very important, as well as breaking these levels over here, which is right around the 74, 75 cents. So it's making some great achievements here. I wouldn't worry too much at the moment. I would give this thing personally some room to breathe. If it starts to pull back, I would personally give it quite a bit of room before getting concerned. Giving it some breathing room to trade and do its thing and, digest, so to speak, some of these gains it's made. The next real area of resistance that I see on the chart, of course, I don't ignore my levels here, is like the 136. I mean, that's the lower end of this range here. So this footing here at 136 could act as a ceiling of resistance, and it's really not that much higher than the current market, which is at 117. Then above that, 156, that's a footing here that we saw back in April. That could act as a ceiling of resistance. And then the next area that will come into play is 186, 183, where this circle is here, and that would be right in this area. But we shall see, guys. And then, of course, we have targets going all the way up into the $1, $2, $3 or so. We'll have to get back into that in another video. This video's been dragging on a little bit too long here. All right, over to Bitcoin. We have Bitcoin just kind of hanging out. We did finally break above this area of 63.7, new 64.3. Pulling back to it here. We'll see. Next target above 68,748. And then things start to really get ramped up once we start to get into that 70,000, 73, 74. Guys, all links down below. Of course, not financial advice. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, join us here. You guys have a great Sunday. I'll catch you in the next one.